when I started using the device, obviously I've smoked 25 years. Um, Within 2 weeks, I wasn't smoking anymore, and I was a little bit like, "What have you done to me?" As it was disappearing, and normally I'd be climbing the walls, making phone calls, and trying to find, um, obviously contact your dealer and go, "Look, I need some more," and for some reason that didn't happen.
Hey, Stuart, thank you so much for coming to spend some time with me today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. So can we start off a little bit just talking about like your health history prior to coming to QHS?
Well, I'm a bit of a weird one because I don't get ill. Right? So I've never had an operation. I've never broken a bone. Um, uh, the last company I worked at was tracking me with the obviously with the COVID and all of that going on, um, and I had a visit from the human resources manager at one point just to inform me that in the 3 years that I've been at that company, because I'm a heavy smoker as well, so everyone looks at me with this kind of like, you should be ill kind of thing. And yeah, I haven't been ill in 3 years. I haven't had a day off in 3 years. And I'm the only unvaccinated driver they had at that point in time. So yeah, they were still kind of like freaked out by it because obviously, if you read what they say in the papers, then I should be the one that's ill all the time.
Right.
And do you see what I mean? But um, yeah, I've had different ways of life that yeah, have just kept me free from all of that, I guess. So yeah,
Perfect.
so when I got the device, I was getting it more for how I could heal other people with it. So it was kind of more of an experiment on myself, um, so that I could, get other people to use it. If that makes sense.
So what'd
Uh,
you do?
well, I do Reiki and quantum healing. Um, a bit of a life healer, really. I kind of look at people's lives, their financial side, legal side, business side, um, and yeah, I kind of try and heal people on all different levels. Um, so when this came along, I was a bit like, oh, this is going to be a game changer. Do you know what I mean? It's going to make my life a little bit easier. Um, so yeah, I kind of get cases where everyone else has given up on them. So um, so yeah, some of them can be uh, quite bad, um, and it takes a lot of research, um, and sometimes a lot of work to unpick all the problems that are going on when other people have given up on them, or the medical side has given up on them. And sometimes I wish I could get people in that weren't in that state, if you know what I mean, like
In the
easier
what
things
state?
in the worst state possible. Um,
Oh,
so it'd be nice if somebody came along and said, "Oh, I've just got a bit of a back problem." That would be lovely. So so yeah, when I started using the device, obviously I've smoked weed for 25 years. Um, Within 2 weeks, I wasn't smoking weed anymore, and I was a little bit like, "What have you done to me?" And
you
it
just
was the
lost your
weirdest.
craving?
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing. It kind of like I've never run out for 25 years. Do you know what I mean? So as my as it was disappearing, and normally I'd be climbing the walls, making phone calls, and trying to find, obviously contact your dealer and go, "Look, I need some more," and for some reason that didn't happen. And as my supply sort of dwindled and dwindled, and I was thinking, okay, you know what I mean? I just thought I'm just gonna, at some point, I'm gonna start climbing the walls. Do you know what I mean? Um, and then my apocalypse supply went missing. You know, I started dipping into that. That's the kind of, you know, where you've got all your food stores and
Oh, oh, your emergency stash, huh?
yeah. So, and then that went, and I thought, okay, I'm just going to go with this now because, yeah, you know, it's been part of my life for 25 years. So, that whole addiction kind of thing just it's gone. Um, and I do remember grinning one day because people had kind of moaned at me a little bit because I had a cough, and I hadn't really noticed it, but it was probably from the amount because I'm, you know, driving all day, um, and that disappeared. So there were a few moments when I remember grinning to myself, thinking that I didn't think the device was going to have any effect, and then all of a sudden, and also the fog. That was the other thing. There was a I, I'd spoken to a lot of psychics and a lot of healers over the last few years, and a lot of them have felt like they're walking in treacle. Um, they just can't seem to, you know, there's like a fog going, you know, and that
Yeah.
lifted. So all of a sudden, my intuition, the visionary side of, you know, being able to see the future is all of a sudden flooding back in. Um, so that was, you know, that was another thing I was kind of like, oh, this is amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like your
So I
senses
was sold on,
are waking up.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, and then it went wrong, so I had to send it back, which felt like I was losing an arm at the time. I've got it back now. It's all come back now, but yeah, it did feel like I've lost an arm at that point because I was a little bit like that had been my friend, if you know what I mean. Um, so yeah, I wasn't expecting anything, but it's yeah, it's it's had a really good effect. So yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Has it helped you, since you're a healer yourself, has it helped your clients just by you having it on your body?
Um, kind of. I mean, some of the cases I've had at the moment, I've had to go through people's medical records and legal stuff. So it's kind of helped me piece it together. I mean, when you get a big file um, where somebody's had a major accident, so you've got all the police reports, you've got the witnesses, you've got, and this person had lost their memory of the accident. So I'm going through all of this paperwork now. A month or so ago, I would have struggled because of that fog. Whereas now I've just taken all that paperwork, separated it all out, planned everything. You know what I mean? And now I can see the whole
Wow.
accident, you know, and I've pieced it all together and I'm able to take her back to the scene of the accident and walk her through what's happened. And so, yeah, I think a lot of people have heard about it because I've talked about it locally. Um, but I haven't really let my device out of my sight. Do you know?
Yeah, of course.
It's been with me because also a lot of people, it is on the fringe, if you know what I mean. People look at it as a fringe science rather than a mainstream science, which I have had. I've lost a couple of friends because I was talking to somebody. I think it was on the volunteer call, and there was somebody with autism that doesn't have autism anymore. And obviously, I was quite excited about that because my friend, her life has been um, ruled by her children with autism. So I kind of said to her about the fact that this device is really going to have an effect on autistic children. And she didn't want to talk to me anymore because, and, and I think there's two levels to that. One is that people get more money for their children that are autistic, which I didn't consider at the time. And other people want them to be included. And I was like, well, they will be included. It's just, you know, they want inclusion for autistic people. And I was kind of like, but what if they're not autistic anymore? You know, how would you feel about that? And they just said, I don't want to talk about it, and put the phone down. So I was kind of like, you know, that's somebody I've known for 25 years. So yeah, so there are a few kind of bumpy bits, if you know what I mean. But I've just kind of thought, well, at some point, nobody's going to have autism. And if you're the only person left with children with autism, then you've got to ask yourself that question. You know what I mean? It's so yeah, yeah, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the um, I think it was the volunteer calls that really swung me over. I think because at first I've been hunting these machines for a long, long time, and obviously there were personal things that were going on in my life that were connected with this kind of technology. But it all turned out to be um, fake. Not you
Mm-hmm.
guys, but
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of people trading on that name. Um, and of course, it made me more and more skeptical the more I tracked down a company and went through the technology, and it was like, oh no, this isn't what I'm looking for. But they're all using the med bed. Do you see what I mean? They're all
Oh
using that.
yeah. Yeah.
So, and there was another group that were trying to get payment up front to go on the med bed, and that was a scam. And it was just like, yeah, there was just a lot of scams and a lot of people. I mean, I used to be like head of IT and finance for a national company. I used to be a business analyst, so I'm used to kind of you can't walk into a boardroom and waffle. Do you know? you know,
Sure. Yeah.
you've got to know what you're talking about. Otherwise, they won't take you seriously. Um, and of course, when I found you guys know what you're talking about, which comes through effortlessly. You know, it's almost like it was weird. Even when I got to your website and it was like, oh, the subscription's $400. I didn't even think about it. At that point, it's
Yeah.
like, yes, have it. Go on. Um, and it was the weirdest feeling. It was almost like I can't even explain the feeling, to be honest. It was that, you know, they always say, oh, mind out for companies that ask for money up front and all this kind of thing. And then I got to your company, looked at the website, went through all the website, got to the subscription, and it wasn't even a question. It's
Yeah.
like,
That
please
was
just take my
me. Yeah, me too. We all knew this was coming. We just needed to find the right vehicle, right?
money. Yeah. And
So, and so many people are stuck in their story, like your friend with the autism. It's just their like comfy couch, right? Like that's all they know. And I don't know if you noticed in the Telegram chat, but there's been some conversation about that and how people identify. Like I used to identify being a runner. I was a runner. I ran all the time and then I hurt my knees and then I had to switch my identity. I'm like, well, who am I now? So I bet with your friend, that might be part of it, right? Like
yeah,
she is the mother of an autistic child, but if you take that away, then she has to reinvent herself. And sometimes people just don't see the possibilities of freedom, but that will change because soon, we get to go through the Q arc.
yeah,
And the cool thing is that's going to be instantaneous and people can't argue with that change. But
no.
the most exciting thing is we get to take all of our wisdom and knowledge and experience that we've gathered through the last few decades and apply it. So what are you most excited about with your own personal do-over?
Um, well, I think the kind of thing that's come to mind is that um, I think I sent you a letter from Michael and my wings and all of that. I sent you a telegram message a while ago showing my wings. And you probably get loads of.
I
I've
do.
got I've got a massive pair of wings on my back, um, and I had a letter from Michael, and I've kind of there's a little bit of my life story there, but for me, all of that happened when I was 30.
I see this. Okay, I remember this.
So I got downloads about the healing centers and being part of that from all of that I put in that message. All of that happened when I was 30, and I've kind of, I've been kind of looking for it ever since. So when I've heard people talking about the machine and, oh, you're going to go back to when you were 30, it's like, ah. But if I go back to when I'm 30, that's when I was getting the downloads for the healing centers. So I'm going back to that point in time when I was assuming I
Wow.
was going to be doing this. And now I've got an opportunity to be part of it. It's like, okay, this makes more, more sense now.
Wow, that's so cool.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to, and like I've said to people here, um, that healing for a living has got to be the greatest thing you can do, and having that opportunity has got to be, you know. So yeah, I'm all in. Do you know what I mean?
So then let's talk about this in two parts. Let's talk about what you're most excited for your own personal body, your own personal vessel, and then what you're most excited to do with this technology in your area to
Um,
help others.
well, I think from my own personal point of view, I think I was in my prime when I was 30, so I'm kind of looking forward to being like that person again, if you know what I mean. Not that it's just me at 30 with 20 odd years more experience than I had when I was 30, which is going to be huge. Um, so I feel like I can make a difference this time. Whereas before I felt a bit left. It's like you have a connection with something. Um, it gives you all this information. You have all these angels coming in, um, and you get the download of what the world could be. And then there's nothing for 20 years. Do you know? It's like, um, and I have fallen out with upstairs. I've had my life saved twice, you know, um, which annoyed me because I couldn't understand why. Um,
Because you
so
had work
yeah,
to do. That's
yeah,
why
well,
you had stuff
that's
to
why.
do.
And of course, that's when I met you guys, and it was that unconditional love that comes through. Do you see what I mean? It's almost like, I don't know, I've never encountered that. Well, I haven't done for a long time. And it just came through. Do you see what I mean? Every call I went on, it just started building and building, and then I'm like, okay, that's it. I can't fight this anymore. Um, but you guys show that, and it's amazing. On all the calls and things like that, it just comes through. It's like magic.
Aw. Well, I think it's like we're all one and this community knows it, you
Oh
know?
yeah, it's been brilliant. Yeah.
Whereas most of the outside world isn't aware yet.
Uh, so going forward, it was it, as my fog cleared. This is when I was kind of saying, I think it's on one of the calls, that I could suddenly see that the Great Awakening and everything to do with that, the spearhead that's going to bring that to the masses, is in that room. Do you see what I mean? It's you guys that are like I could see it. Do you see what I mean? The more these healing centers are built, the more that people see the technology and they start becoming healed as well. It's gonna do some great things, and I think this is the spearhead. Do you see what I mean?
Hmm.
The vehicle that's going to bring the Great Awakening to the world, because at the moment the
Wow.
world's in chaos. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
yeah.
this is almost like that white light, that's ignoring politics, it's ignoring boundaries, countries, and it's just going straight in and healing people, which is, do you see what I mean? I can see it. For the first time, I could actually see the vehicle that's going to bring this to the world. And yeah, I mean, what else can you say at that point? You kind of just put me in somewhere. Do you know what I mean?
That's so exciting.
And you know, I do come from an analytical sort of scientific background. I am in the International High IQ Society. It's not like I'm taking this lightly. Do you see what I mean? It's like I can just see it, you know. And I've been awake since around about 10, 11 years old. So
Wow.
the knowledge I've accrued over that time, wanting to know everything from the Loch Ness Monster to Emoto's work in Japan, you know, the water crystals, and I bring all of that into the healing. So when I heal people, I tell them about Emoto's work. I show them the water crystals, the rice experiments, how you can influence your body subatomically by the way that you are, you know, and being that way, how it affects others. And yeah, I bring all of that into my healing. So yeah, to have this frequency that's based on Tesla's frequencies and what they can do for the body. But I haven't, I mean, my interest was more from the, when I saw somatics, and you can see different sound creates different patterns. And I recognize those patterns as being things that are on the side of temples and various ancient texts and carved into stone and all this kind of thing. And I was more interested in the angelic chords, the different frequencies that the angels left us. And of course, this seems to have that. It seems to have that exact thing that has been left. So I came at it from the ancient side, um, because the ancients used frequencies all the time, and they lived much longer than we do. Um, so yeah, it's always been I was trying to take the patterns, find the frequencies, and then I find something that I can push those frequencies out. And to be honest, I didn't know much about generating the frequencies. I kind of knew what frequencies I was after and what each one might do, and combining them together. That was something I've learned from going through all the ancient stuff. Um, and of course, that's what you guys do. You know, you have the twine. Do you see what I mean? It's like, so the angelic chords are actually in the machine. They're part of what you do.
Oh, yeah. I
So,
absolutely believe that to be true. I mean, that's my own personal belief. I feel like there's such a divine consciousness that it's not just a 3D satellite that the signal goes up to, but it's more of a divine consciousness that goes up to. And it's funny, I was explaining to my trainer today, because we had this massive workout today, and I said, well, I'm going to do the bike instead of the running because my knees are hurting again today. And I said, I just can't run right now, but I will be able to soon. And she's like, well, what do you mean? And I started talking about the Q arc, and she's like, I don't get it. How does that happen like that? Like, how can you do that? And I was explaining that your body's made of cells, which are made of molecules, which are made of atoms, but 99.9% of an atom is frequency, energy, vibration, right? So that means if we're 99.9%, that's what we are. And so that's why it totally makes sense that we heal with frequencies, like Tesla. It's like, that's what I feel it's all about. Now, I'm not on the science team, so I'm just making that up, but it feels right to me.
yeah, yeah. There's been different devices as well, like the Rife machines and things like that, that have all kind of been close to this concept. Um, but it's the whole company, I think, that works. Do you see what I mean? The science works, the people work, divine scripture, and do you see what I mean? What
Yeah,
a thing.
yeah.
Um, and you know, you've got the QI project, you've got the Valor project, you've got all these other projects that all kind of yeah, there's nothing. Do you know what I mean? I think you could tear the place apart trying to find some sort of negativity in there, and you wouldn't find any. So I feel comfortable with that. Do you see what I mean? It's got a different vibe to it than a lot of these other places where it's just, well, buy it. You know what I mean? There's no, I don't know, there was just something different about this company that was kind of on a different level to other companies or corporations or whatever.
Thank you for
Great.
saying that. I'm sure Cynthia will appreciate hearing that. I'll make sure she knows that you said that. So what are
Oh,
you going to want to do? So you're already a healer. We're going into the Q arcs pretty soon to heal our own bodies. And then are you looking to do like a healing center in your area? I mean, what are you wanting to do ideally with this moving forward?
yeah, you know, I've got a plan. Whether obviously there's people who talk about the redemption or the RV or anything like that. My plan doesn't really center around anything like that. It's more to do with buying a couple of the on the Valor project, opening up healing centers, bringing in people and obviously money, and then buying more and just keep buying them. you know? And as that, if things change in the world and there is this, wealth that comes in, then brilliant. But in the meantime, that's all I can see, and I've got places in Wales, Scotland, in England that are all kind of set up like, for that. So, yeah, it would be nice, to start bringing these into Europe, um, and just getting them out there. I'm
Right.
sure, I'm sure once people notice it, there'll be more investors sort of jumping on that bandwagon. But in the meantime, um, that's what I want to do is just create a healing center, put them in there, heal people. I mean, well, I can't think of anything other than beyond that, really, of just bringing people in. Um, I mean, hopefully, I mean, you guys are supplying some sort of marketing and materials to go in these healing centers with your name on and stuff. It's not just going to be, I want people to know about divine scripture and I want people to know about quantum healing systems. I don't want it to be anonymous like that.
No,
Uh,
it will be very structured,
yeah,
the way it's all going to come out. But think about this. All of us going through the device and then creating a movie about the whole experience,
I know.
that's going to be plenty, right? I think that it's not going to be hard to bring people in. I think it's the harder thing is going to be able to keep, it's almost like, Best Buy on Black Friday or whatever, right? It's going to be hard to keep order getting people in rather than trying to attract them in. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's also, I mean, the more that you end up looking like Celine Dion, that's going to help as well.
Have you seen her lately? I'm not so sure about that.
Well, when she was younger, I remember you talking about this on another Zoom call, and you mentioned about, your likeness to Celine Dion, and it's like that would be awesome if you looked like Celine Dion did when she was younger. Um, you know what I mean? Only because you said it on your
Yeah,
Zoom call.
yeah. No, I want to, I mean, I have gone so many places and people say, "Do you know that you look like Celine Dion?" And I've heard that over and over for years. And all I say is, "Well, I wish I could sing like her." You know,
Yeah.
that would be cool if we could download languages and talent, that could be another fun project coming down that I've actually heard could happen. I'm not saying with QHS, I'm just saying that the possibilities are there, and if I know Cynthia, any possibility that she can bring in that, goes along with that quantum realm, she might consider it. So
Okay.
she's a visionary, I'll tell you that much.
Excellent.
So
Yeah.
So Stuart, you are amazing. I'm super excited to that those things happened to you, that you were able to kick a bad habit. that your cough went away and then your brain fog lifted. The cough, I'm glad you actually said that, because I used to always have a really thick morning cough. I don't smoke. I think it was like allergies or something, but that has gone away, and you pointed it out to me. So thank you.
Oh, yeah. Um, yeah, it is quite amazing, really. Um, but that's the thing. That's what I fell in love with, was the fact that it actually had an effect on me when you just see what I mean? I wish I had a bad back or something. I could go, it's fixed it, but to fix the things that it did, I mean, there are a few shocked people about it, having to tell people like, oh, I'm not smoking weed anymore. There are a few people that have kind of, taken a step back and gone, no way. And it's like, no, honestly. So, yeah, yeah, it's a very amazing product.
And how long have you had it again?
About 2 months now. So, yeah.
So imagine fast forwarding 6 months and seeing the differences,
But this is what I say to people about the HHS, the home healing system, um, and the things that can do in 3 days. You know. Um, so yeah, I just think this has got to happen. It's got to.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm all I'm all in. It's
Cool.
hopefully we'll be able to do something. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've seen some of the plans that Cynthia's put out on how there are these structures. So I definitely want to be involved in using my brain knowledge, whatever, for the company, really, any which way I can. Plus, I drive lorries, so I do the business side, and I can drive HGVs and RVs and things. So yeah, I'll clean the
Perfect.
toilets for you if I need to.
Perfect. That's
All these
awesome.
jobs, yeah,
Because, moving forward, we're expanding so quickly, and there's going to be lots of need for different things. Right now we're on like a 2 or 3 month hiatus, so we can just kind of get settled. LWS brought in a lot of people, and so we just need to let the dust settle and get
yeah,
everything just right so that we can build on a strong foundation. So, but just stay connected. And then when other opportunities arise, and of course, we're going to end up coming to your country, I'm sure. So that will be perfect for you.
yeah,
You can
excellent. Yeah,
leave it
remember me
at
in the UK when you do.
that. Yeah, for sure. All right, Stuart. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And it was a pleasure hearing your
Yeah,
story.
you too. You too.
I
Thank you
look
very
forward to
much.
part 2. Okay. Have a
Okay.
beautiful day.